Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm going to be talking about an artist by the name of Henry Darger in my new series called Artist Feature, Dead and Alive. Rotating talking about one dead artist in one video and an alive artist in another. Henry Darger was an outsider artist. Now if you don't know what outsider art is, or art brut, which was first coined by French artist Jean Dubuffet, it's art that he actually found in a lot of psych wards for mentally ill patients or children, where they would use art as a form of therapy there. And he saw a lot of artistic value in some of the works. So he decided to create this market for art that wasn't really meant to be marketed to begin with. So you get this really pure form of art. He was a big recluse and a hoarder. He collected a lot of trash. And he spent decades working on this 15,000 page novel, which had over 300 illustrations to accompany it. And on his deathbed, he told his landlord to just throw it all away. But his landlord didn't. So now he is this huge, well-known and well-loved outsider artist. Many artists who came after him have been influenced by him, as well as many songs and dances and whatnot, or games even, were written in his name. I'm going to put the title of the novel down here because it's really, really long. But for short, I just call it The Story of the Vivian Girls. Imagine World War I in outer space with little young girls called the Vivian Girls who have dicks and sometimes horns, fighting against these evil creatures who enslave children. So, yeah. It gets a little weird. Just gonna warn you now that this is not everyone's cup of tea. Most outsider art isn't. But just stick with it until the end before you dismiss it so quickly. You will probably find yourself either loving it or hating it, but it's going to elicit one or the other. Something strong. So, in a lot of the battle scenes, these Vivian girl heroines are seen being tortured and torn apart, their guts spilling out and blood everywhere, and it's pretty horrific. Especially to tie this kind of grotesque imagery with such young, innocent-looking girls is quite the shocking image. And then in other scenes, the girls will be enjoying this really nice, tranquil moment of peace. So, what does all this mean? Why are these young little girls getting torn apart? And why is it World War I? And why do they have dicks? Darger had it rough. When he was a little kid and his mom died, giving birth to his sister was put up for adoption right away, so he never really got to meet her. His father died soon after, and Darger was sent to an asylum. One of the times he tried to escape from the asylum, the workers would chase him down on horseback. So you see this reflected in some of his battle scenes where there would be these evil horsemen going after the young girls. He was highly religious as well. It was probably really beat into him. So after many attempts, he eventually succeeded in escaping from this asylum. Darger served in World War I, which explains his battle scenes. And he also had sexual identity issues. It was believed that he had a gay lover, which was his only friend. They both shared this common interest of having this strong sense of wanting to protect young girls. I don't know this friend's history, but knowing Darger's, it makes sense for him to want to feel so strong about protecting young girls. So they had even pledged to start this kind of society or organization to put abused children into good foster care or good adopted homes. He probably didn't want to just save young children and the sister he never got to meet, but he probably also wanted to save the child in him. The extreme of crazy, horrific battle scenes, in contrast with these peaceful scenes, probably are a reflection on his own inner turmoil. Now, about the dicks. So there are a number of people who have come up with theories. Some people think that he just didn't know what guys and girls had. and just was a confused man, which I'm sure he was probably confused in some way, but I don't think in that way. Others think that he might have just had sexual identity issues. Some others think that because these girls are only shown with the dicks and naked when they are in battle, it might be that he was trying to attribute a sense of strength and masculinity to these young girls so that they could have power to overcome their enemies, which might also explain why they have the horns on their head as well. These works of art are really breathtaking. The mixed media and the collage and even his own hand drawings are in there. You could tell that he was trying to teach himself how to draw and didn't trace some of the girls' faces or figures. And then that with a combination of these copper tone tracings of girls, because he would take a lot of the magazine clippings and stuff of whatever advertisements were out at the time, which were a lot of these doe-eyed, innocent-looking girls, which really fit in with him and his motive and personality. And looking back at it now, it's really quite a treasure. A lot of people are put off by the images of these young naked girls, especially with the dicks. That doesn't help. And they would think that Darger is some kind of pedophile or maybe even a murderer. But I like to see it kind of like the portraits done by Sally Mann, very famous photographer who took photos of her young children, and they were highly talked about when they first came out, especially the portraits of her young girls. But they're naked, so people are upset. They're saying that she's sexualizing her young children, and nakedness does not always equate to sexuality. It just doesn't. It's our most natural form. It's how we come out. It's how we enter this world. So I think that the people who are criticizing Darger are a lot of the same people who criticize Sally Mann's work, basically putting their own projections of sexuality onto them or their work. So Darger's got a great combination going on here, and I see that as a great piece of art. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I will see you in the next one where I'll be featuring a living artist.